yes, I look terrible because it's a holiday break and I'm off work for a few weeks and I just don't care. Anyway, on to this. If you clicked on this video thinking, yeah, I'm about to see this guy spend a bunch of money on a really good scope, I just go ahead and click off that. That's not what this video is. I'm going to break down kind of my history with scopes, kind of justify why I got what I got, and then just let you be the judge. Go ahead and flame me in the comments or whatever the kids are saying these days. Anyway, I guess I'll start out by saying I understand that the scope doesn't really determine the lethalness of a deer rifle. My dad hunted for 30 years with a fixed power 4x32 scope on his 30-06. Like, killed a lot of deer with it. Scope didn't keep him from doing that. I do know that technology's gotten progressively way better, so there's no real reason to still be hunting with that. But growing up, I hunted with a 3x9x40, just like probably everybody else that started hunting in the, I don't know, late 80s, early 90s, early 2000s. Stuff like that. Killed a lot of deer with it. Nothing wrong with it. And I guess right around 2000, people started talking about 50 millimeter scopes. And I'm like, there's no way that they're as good as people are saying that they are. Because they were like, yeah, you can hunt like 15 minutes later, still see, make sure that, you're shooting what you want to be shooting instead of just some random shadow that's out on your field, because that's all you can see through your 40 millimeter scope. Like, you're just paying for stuff. Well, they, eventually got cheaper, and other companies started making them besides just, like Leupold and stuff like that. So, I don't know. I've probably been hunting. It's not super important. I've probably been hunting 12 or 13 years. We'll say somewhere in there. And I was like, yeah, let's get a new scope. And I got a BSA, which they're still around, still company. I gotten it because I had bought them some red dots that were BSA, so I recognized the brand. I don't think they make this model anymore, but I have since bought a few of them because I was impressed with how much that 50 millimeter scope did help. Just a 50 millimeter, but it's still a 3x9. This is actually my wife's rifle, and like I said, this has been on here for probably 10 years. Nothing super fancy about it. Just, 50 millimeters, 3x9 on the zoom. It does have an illuminated reticle that I don't even think there's a battery in that. Like, honestly, here's my take on illuminated reticles. Even as dark as it can get while you're hunting, you can probably still see the reticle at legal shooting light without illumination. Most of the time, even on the lowest setting, it's almost annoyingly bright when it's dim enough to need an illuminated reticle. So I don't like them. I basically just, when I get a scope that has them, I get free batteries for my garage door opener. Anyway, so like I said, had this scope on her gun, had this scope originally on my 243, killed several deer with it, liked it, wound up, my sister had a 308, we got one for it as well. Like, really good scope. They don't make them anymore. They were like $50 in 2008, 2009, whenever I got it the first time. Well worth $50 even back then, before inflation and stuff. The last one I bought seems like it was close to 70, still worth $70. It's a $100 scope today, easy. No problem at all with that, but you just can't find it. So I guess some problem at all with that. Then I don't know time frames, guys. It's a little fuzzy, but at some point in time, I had two 4570s that my father-in-law had bought, and he wanted scopes on them. So I did minimal research, couldn't find those scopes again. So I was like, oh, we'll just, find stuff that's got good reviews and that won't just absolutely break the bank. So this is what we come up with. And again, had a couple of these, and this is obviously not a 4570, but this is a Barska Huntmaster Pro. It actually says it on the scope somewhere. I think it's inside there. Yeah, it is. You can't see that. But anyway, it is a 50 millimeter scope, of course, because there's really, in my opinion, no reason to buy a 40 millimeter scope anymore, unless you're like trying to shave all the weight you can because you backpack in everywhere. I'm old and lazy and don't do that anymore. Like, I'm gonna walk a maximum of a half a mile and I'm gonna go sit in a permanent stand somewhere. That's how I deer hunt. Sorry for people that actually deer hunt. I know that I'm a disappointment. Anyway, so instead of just a regular 3x9, though, this is a 3x12, which makes almost no noticeable difference in magnification. But it's cool to say that you've got a 3x12 instead of a 3x9. So there's that. This somehow inflation has not impacted very much because I found them online for roughly the same price here recently. So I think I gave $130 or something for those, somewhere in that neighborhood, just north of $100. I had bought and sporterized a Mosin Nagant, and I thought, what would be a good scope on that would be that BSA. So I took that off of my 243, and I was like, I would like a little bit more magnification. There's my problem. I got greedy. That's what happened. But I thought it's a 243, like it's super flat shooting. I'd like to be able to zoom in and like shoot something right behind the eyeballs because it's a 243. So I got on Amazon, which is probably a mistake. And I saw that they have these, I don't even know if there's a name brand. I think I have seen them named like CV Light or something. It's a 6x24x50. It's got the parallax adjustment out front. I'll try and throw in a shot of the reticle. It's trash. And I've killed deer with this. Don't get me wrong. It has a litany of issues for a deer rifle. Number one is it only goes down to 6 power, which I didn't think was too big of a deal until you get out there and it's a little bit after 5 o'clock and you can only go down to 6, and all the benefits that you got from that 50 millimeter scope are basically gone because you've got too much magnification now. We've all been guilty of this. You're sitting in your stand, 300 yards, there's a fox squirrel running up and down the tree. And you're like, I'd like to see that a little bit better. So, you flip this parallax out to 300 yards, so you're all in focus and stuff, and you're zoomed, you're sitting on 20 or something. And you're like, yeah, that was neat. Nothing I'd ever seen before. And then you just leave your scope like that, and the next thing you know, there's a coyote or a bobcat or a deer, heaven forbid, comes out at 50 yards, and you're still sitting at 20 and 300. So you can't see anything so you're sitting here. And then the does that you don't see, it's busted, okay? The more stuff that you have to mess with on a deer rifle, the more stuff there is to go wrong. Like, it has capped turrets, like, thank goodness, because I know that I'd just be sitting there playing with them also. So, yeah, I can't recommend that. And then back to those of you that backpack, the more crap that they put on this, the heavier it is. Not that impacts me, but it will impact some of you. So take that into consideration too. Again, illuminated reticle, so an extra battery for my garage door openers. Long story short, this scope is coming off of my 243 because it's terrible. I have gotten used to it. My daughter has started hunting a little bit with me. We basically exclusively let her use my wife's rifle because it's a super simple reticle. I'll have pictures of this reticle and that one if I can get it up there. This one's just way too busy. Like, I've gotten used to it. I can use it, the bottom half of the scope is almost unusable because of how much stuff is going on. And it's a second focal plane. Anyway, whatever it is, the reticle size does not change with your zoom. So it's useless unless it's at some given zoom that Amazon scope didn't come with instructions on where to set to make your mil dot or whatever Christmas tree adjustments that there are. Useless. Glad it only cost me 30 bucks. So, what scope am I replacing this with? And I had thought about this for a while. I looked at some Vortex. They are like at the very top of what I would like to spend on, the cheap deer rifle. And then I looked at Conus. I had shot through a few of those, and they, for the money, they look really nice. But I kept coming back to this barska. And that's what I wound up going with. You can see that. This box, that's crazy. I was wondering why that wouldn't just slide over the top of it. It slides out of it. But, owner's manual. It's got a lifetime warranty, but there's a lot of restrictions on it. So, I gave 115 bucks for it, I think. So, by the time I dealt with not having it for 8 weeks and spending 30 bucks on shipping it there and back, I'm just going to buy another scope. I'm not worried about the lifetime warranty. Of course, it comes with cleaning cloth, two garage door opener batteries, and then the scope, which looks exactly like that one, cheap yellow lens covers. But I'm going to pop this thing on there. I've really come to just love the simplicity of that, like 30-30 duplex thing. And I don't mind the dot on this BSA either. Like I said, for the money, like if they still had these for $100, it's a toss up. Like these are both great budget scopes, and you can actually get this barska in a 3x9 instead of a 3x12, and it's about $20 or $30 cheaper. And like I said, you're probably never going to notice that 10, 11, 12 difference if you're just deer hunting. But, I just wanted to be different, I guess. Long story short, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'm going to get this on this 243, and if I can find some bullets somewhere, I'm going to get it set in. Hopefully, kind of transition that to my daughter's new go-to deer rifle. See y'all next time.